Good Friday morning to everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your buddy Choppadong. I am going to come at you with a split concept type video today. We're going to show you two quick ways to build winning lineups on DraftKings and Fanduel. So let's sort of jump in. We're going to try and get this done well under 20 minutes, which has always been my challenge. But we're going to dive in. We're going to assess the pitching. We're going to look at some stacks, and we're going to look at some DFSA ratings and maybe some trends. And we're going to tear this thing apart for your big 15-game slate and show you that it just doesn't take that long to build winning lineups. We do a lot of coaching inside DFSArmy.com. You can find the link down there in the comments section. Use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, and get more detailed instruction than I can share with you out here. I am a senior content contributor, coach, lead editor, whatever you want to call it, out there in DFSArmy.com. And I want to help you get better. I'm on Twitter all the time. You can always find me out there. You can find me inside DFSArmy.com helping our members become better players. We use a lot of bankroll management, a lot of contest selection, and a lot of tracking our results to make sure that we're in the right contest, positioning ourselves to win better. And I got a couple of questions this morning, so it's kind of what I'm going to try and build this lineup around is how can I build, I'm used to building GPP lineups. I'm a GPP only player, but I want to build a little bit safer. I want to build a little bit more consistent results. And the person that asked me the question literally said, I'm pretty good at getting my money back out of tournaments. Well, that tells me you're building top half, top 30% type lineups anyway, so you're already there. We would just need to adjust your contests and add in. We're not going to change much of what you do. But for people that are looking for just a basic, quick way to build lineups, here's a simple way to be safe but not too safe, to be different but not too different, and build very, very strong fundamental lineups that get into the 50-50s, up into the top third, top quarter, sometimes top 10% of lineups in the industry. And what that's not going to do a lot of damage in tournaments, but it's going to do a lot of damage in cash if you find contests that also pay more than double. You need to be in triple ups. You need to be in quintuple ups. You need to be in 10-man leagues. You need to be in 3-man leagues, 5-man leagues. You need to be in these types of contests because nothing is more disappointing than building a cash safe lineup in baseball that turns around and goes bonkers and wins a 100-man double up for $2. That lineup should have been in a lot of different places. And so that's what we're going to help you do. We're going to talk about building lineups that can get the upside, realize the upside to win triple ups and quintuple ups, even 100-man leagues for $25 on the dollar when you win them. They are not going to win you GPPs too terribly often because you've got to get way inside that top 1%. And to do that, you have to take some freaky deaky chances. I'm not into taking those freaky deaky chances. I want to show you how to build safe. And I'll use an analogy and then we'll move on. But the analogy is using Led Zeppelin as a rock band, legendary rock band. Instead of starting on the street corner or starting at the bottom record deal, trying to get a record deal at the bottom record company, they went straight to the top. They went to what at the time was the top record company in the world in Columbia Records and said, we want a record deal. Columbia said, let's listen to your stuff, and said, we like you, we'll sign you. And later down the road, when being interviewed by Rolling Stone magazine and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame type interviews, they asked Led Zeppelin, why did you start at the top? Why? Who does that? That's kind of crazy. Why wouldn't you start at the bottom, work your way up like everybody else? And they said, well, we didn't know our potential. So why not start at the top, and then we can always settle for less as we work our way down. But if we start at the bottom, we don't know how high we could have started. Why would I create all that extra work climbing the ladder for myself if I could have just started at the top? That's a very arrogant, very ballsy, very confident statement to make, but it's why they're legends. And it's an interview that stuck with me forever with different things, and even DFS. I'm going to try to win the 100-man leagues. I know these lineups are not going to win GPPs. I'm going to try to win 100-man leagues. And when I fall a little bit short of my goal, I'm still in the top half. I'm in the top third, top 20% of my contests. So if I started at the bottom and trying to build something that just got into the top half, just got into like 40th place out of 100 people because it was super, super, super safe, no mistake, that doesn't have any upside to get better than that. And when it falls short in 65th place or something and misses everything. I learned this a couple of years ago. I started building for the top 10%, the top 1%, said F it, threw caution to the wind, said I'm going to stack. I'm going to take some chances on pitchers. I'm not going to take stupid chances, but I'm going to take some chances. and I'm going to correlate, and I'm going to stack my lineups a little bit. And yeah, it's a little bit more boom or bust, but it gets past the top third or top 20% or top 10% when it does well. And it's not, honestly, it's not as risky as you think. It doesn't finish in the bottom, 20%. It's not 85th place very often. Now, if I was stacking Baltimore Orioles or stacking, a lineup against a chalk pitcher like a Max Scherzer, yes, I'm going to end up in the bottom quite often. And that's okay if the first place was $1,000 on a $1 investment. It's not okay if it's only $2 on a $1 investment. We don't need that kind of risk, and it's kind of foolish to take it. So we're looking for something in the middle that can get into that top 5, top 1%, but also gets in the top half a lot when it misses. That's my coaching philosophy. If you like that philosophy, click like, click subscribe, and come inside DFS Army and let me start helping you. Let's dive into the research station and show you quickly. Well, actually, let's go out here to the pitching, because that's where we spend most of our time, is on the pitching side of things, because I want to start with the most consistent source of points in baseball. And I'm not going to pay up. Like I said, I'm going to take some chances at pitcher. I'm not afraid to do this. I'm going to find somebody who's in a good spot and should have a decent floor, but is a little bit more prone to blow up than the pure chalk pitcher, because I don't like having to go with, now I only have $2,800 for the rest of my lineup, and I have to go pick value play after value play after value play after value play and hope they do something. Give me 6 points. Get me 9. No, I like stacking in baseball. I like going with a Boston stack. I like going with a Yankees stack. I like going with a Coors stack. And to do that, I need to save money at pitcher. But can I do it wisely? Well, some slates I can, some slates I can't. I start by looking at the top rated pitcher, and I sort by strikeout upside. And I'm looking for a number over 500. All these guys have it today. So I should theoretically be happy with all of them. But I want somebody with strong Vegas odds. There's a couple of underdogs in here. There's a couple that have strong odds. I want a strong bullpen. I want a weaker offense backing me up. And I want the cheapest price I can find that delivers across the board. If I start with $12,000 and 280, 590, and a top-ranked bullpen, I'm not going to do much better than that, but it's going to cost me. Scherzer saves me $400, but I suffer Vegas odds. I suffer a little bit of strikeout upside, although not much. I suffer in the bullpen. I may give the lead away if I've got it later and cost me a win, which is 4 to 6 points if I don't even get a quality start out of it. Point is that $400 worth what I'm sacrificing off of Cole? Probably not. If I'm going to pay up this high, I'll probably just go all the way up to Cole. Robbie Ray has the upside, but as an underdog, he's got some risk tonight. Probably don't want that. It's probably not enough. Now, if he was a $7,000 pitcher, sure, I'll take that chance. 10,500 out of Snell here. 10,500 is $1,000 off Scherzer. It's $1,500 off of Cole. Is it enough? No. I lose a good bit of Vegas odds. Vegas isn't the end-all be-all, but it does help guide you. 500, almost 100 points in K-score. That's pretty bad. Now, he does give me a decent W score, which tells me he's not likely to get blown up. That's a good thing. Middling bullpen. LA kind of caps my potential because LA doesn't strike out a ton. They don't have there's not a lot of strikeout upside in here for Snell. Could he strike out 15? Sure, if he's perfect tonight. Is he going to most times? Probably not. He's going to probably strike out less than his average because LA strikes out far less than the average team. That's not worth $1,500 savings to me. I come down to Rich Hill. Rich Hill, 9,700. Now we're down what? 2,300 off of Cole. Still a favorite. 500K score. 460's not a big sacrifice off of here. Good bullpen. Chicago worries me a little bit, but okay for a $3,000 savings or $2,300 savings. That might be worth it. What about Haney? Underdog, probably not. For Haney, I'd go down here to Erod. Save the $400 and pick up a very strong favorite. Stronger than Hill. So now we've got a debate on our hands. Is it worth $1,200 to pick up the Vegas support? Probably. Do I sacrifice much K score? No. Do I sacrifice much W score? No. Do I sacrifice much bullpen? No. So everything across the board is pretty strong, or is pretty much the same. The Vegas odds are even stronger, significantly stronger, and I get to save, $1,200 off of Hill, $400 off of Haney, but $1,200 off of Hill, and dadgum near $4,000 off of Garrett Cole. Now you can see why I love this price range. It gets me a pitcher that's in a good spot with good numbers for a cheaper price. Now, is he going to score me 70 points tonight? No, but I don't need that with this price. Get me 40. He's got upside to 40, 50 points for sure. Now, he's probably got a lower floor than Garrett Cole too, but I can hopefully make up with that in my bats and have more fun in doing it. So Erod would be my number one pitcher tonight. You won't find that anywhere else in the industry, I promise you. But if you understand why I'm doing it, then it makes some sense. I don't mind using Hill. I don't mind using Garrett Cole. If you want the ultimate safety of paying all the way up to the top, you can do it. If your value plays, luck into a couple of home runs, I'm not going to beat you with Erod. But I believe that in running the slate 100 times, I'm going to be very competitive with you with bats. And because of the bats and the double dong power, I think I have more upside than you. And I think I've got a decent floor, decent enough to take a shot at you. Now, you're going to finish in the top 50% of lineups with Garrett Cole, probably more often than I am. But I'm going to finish in the top 10% of lineups, probably more often than you are. And that's what I'm after. Because that's, if I layer my contests correctly, that's going to pay me 5 times, 10 times, 12 times my money, whereas you're still worrying about doubling up, maybe tripling up. I'm going for that upside, but I'm doing it smartly and I'm doing it safely. That's how I build my lineups. If that appeals to you, again, you've got to come inside dfsarmy.com. How do I find my bats? Well, there's a couple of ways. I can take the pitcher ratings, flip them on their heads, look at Sierra, look at home run totals, home run per 9, walks per 9, find bad pitchers, and then stack against them. Or I can just slide over here and use the DFSA grade. If I use the DFSA grade, I'm looking for numbers above like an 80. And this is largely going to land us on similar players, which is fine. So if I'm looking for guys under 80, I'm going to go by positions. I'm going to start with my catcher. And I'm just going to walk through the research station very simply. I'm going to, first of all, if I'm on DraftKings, I need a catcher. If I'm on Fanduel, I don't. 85, so the only one above an 80 is Grandal. That doesn't mean he's the only one worth a crap. That just means that he is the lead dog for catchers, and the drop-off is pretty significant. But you're going to find guys in the outfield that are in the 90s and up towards 100. They're stronger than Grandal. But Hedges, Casali, these types of guys, if Casali's projected to be in the lineup tonight, I'd strongly look at him because why? Value. It's priced up on DraftKings. Hedges might be decent value in Coors Field if he gets the start for whatever reason. 3,000 there, 3,000 on DraftKings. That's kind of almost like a value lock, especially if you're running a Garrett Cole as one of your pitchers. If I look at first baseman, I'm going to see a deeper position than catcher. I can come down, 5 or 6 guys down here to Vogelbach, maybe Joey Votto. If you look at his recent numbers, Votto's been fine. And Cincinnati's in a good spot tonight. But Santana and Cleveland's in a good spot. Goldschmidt's got a good matchup. Aguilar, Milwaukee could do some damage. Guzman, Texas can do some damage. Atlanta's been hot lately. Seattle's been pretty good lately. Votto's in a good spot tonight. All of these guys are in play. You might look at the cheaper guys and save some money. You might pay up and start stacking Cleveland. That's up to you. That's your call. I can't make that specific a decision for you. I can tell you that the number 1 rated second baseman is in Coors Field, and it's Ian Kinsler. I don't personally believe it because I don't think the guy's a lot of power and whatnot anymore, but he's the highest graded second baseman, along with Peraza and Odor. So when I come over here to the rating system, I see that Odor's a 79, the other guys are over an 80, so they're kind of in play. I'd try to pick from these guys the best I could, but if I was stacking Boston, I might take a Brock Holt. Cleveland, I don't know if I'd take a Kipnis, but if I was Milwaukee, sure, I'd take Moustakas. Boston again with Nunez or Holt, whoever gets the start. That's okay. These are still decent ratings, right? I'm paying attention to who I want to stack. Cincinnati. There's Cleveland again with Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez has not been good this year. But he carries a 92 matchup rating today. 100 in Suarez, probably your lead third baseman on the slate. Over Arenado even, if he plays. He's going to be in here some high-priced dudes, though. Suarez, Ramirez is too cheap, but he's not hitting well. Cabrera, Rendon, Perez, Devers if you're stacking Boston. Devers carries, a 75 rating, which is still okay. I mean, trying to stay above 80 as best I can, but I would take it if I was stacking Boston because he's going to be a little bit cheaper than JD Martinez, Mookie Betts types. And it gets you that Boston stack, which is more bats in that batting order if it scores 8 or 10 runs, which it might be in position to do tonight. Shortstop, Lindor, Cleveland again, Bogarts, Boston again, Machado, San Diego, Tatis, San Diego. These guys are starting to pop in there a little bit. out there in Coors. So I'm looking, there's my over 80s. If I look at outfield, look at all these guys over 80. First of all, you got 3 times the number of people to roster because there's 3 outfield positions. Second of all, that's where you're going to find a lot of your value most nights. Let's go down to Mazzara, maybe Puig, 79.9, rounded up to an 80. So I've got Renfroe, Luplow, San Diego, Cleveland, Betts, Martinez, Boston, Reyes, San Diego again, one off in Texas and Chu, Milwaukee with Braun, San Diego with Myers, Kane with Milwaukee, Blackman and Coors, Yelich with Milwaukee again, Mazzara, Texas, Puig, Cincinnati, right? Seeing the same names again. You're seeing Cincinnati, you're seeing Cleveland, you're seeing Boston, you're seeing some Milwaukee. These would be the offenses that you would be targeting. If I go back and turn this off, and we'll just take a quick review by looking at the top 10 names that pop up here. I mean, if you wanted to go that route, you can scroll all the way down to the positions and go down into the 80s, and it's all the names we've already seen. Or you can just look at who are the best of the best, who are the top 10 bats, who are the guys maybe over 90. Down to Reyes and Chu. Cleveland, Cincinnati, San Diego, Cleveland, Boston, Cleveland, Cleveland, Boston, San Diego, right? These are the 3 teams I should be focused on stacking: Cleveland, Boston, San Diego. So let's run out to a contest. Let's go drop. If you wanted to use Garrett Cole, you can, but you're not going to get a lot of stacking involved there. Come all the way down to, say, least possible objective. You might even look at a Kyle Gibson tonight. He didn't make my list earlier, but I'd look at him. I'm looking at Eduardo Rodriguez. And let's say I wanted to start with, say, San Diego and Coors. And who were the names that I saw on the list? Tatis. It's going to be expensive. Machado. Reyes. Renfroe. Can I build around that? It's going to be tough at $2,600 per player. So I'm going to have to take some sacrifices. Maybe I take Machado and Tatis out and use Reyes and Renfroe. Come down a little more. There's Will Myers in the outfield. There's Kinsler, top-rated second baseman. So I've got 3 guys. You know, would I stack all 4 in a safer lineup? Yeah, sometimes. But on a bigger slate like tonight, I don't want to maybe be so reliant on one offense. I'd rather spread out a little bit and get, you know, exposure to several things and hope some things go off. If I'm using big rating systems and good recency, I'm probably in a good spot anyway. Say I come over into Cleveland. Where was my value in Cleveland? Loecki, Griner, Kipnis, Hicks, Martin, Rodriguez, Bauer, Cabrera, Christian Stewart. A lot of Detroit down there. Luplow is kind of a given. Jose Ramirez, if you want to take the chance and be a little risky, go for it. I'm saving up for something else. Goodrum, Detroit. Carlos Santana, great first baseman. I'm at 2,900. That's going to hurt. Lindor, 4,000 is going to hurt. I need to probably come over to somebody cheaper, like, say, Cincinnati. So I'm not going to get it in Boston, which would be somebody else I'd be looking for. And I'm really, really, really wanting some Suarez. How does that handicap me? 2,700 for a utility and a shortstop. So if I looked at, I'm not going to find my shortstop here, but okay, there's 3,200, and now I've got to do $2,200 for a shortstop. Can I find any shortstop at this point for 2,200 bucks? Adrianza in Minnesota if he starts. Richie Martin, Yairo Munoz if he starts. Freeman. Where's my buddy Arcia? He's usually okay. Iglesias, Chris Taylor. Interesting. Arcia, 2,500. I'm a little bit short. But if I wanted to just purely punt it, you know, I could do so, you know, with a Richie Martin. I'm going against my own pitcher, but I don't care if I get a 0 or anything out of him. I like this lineup the way that it is. Or I could come off of Votto, and I could just take the research station back over to the highest DFSA grade under 2,500 bucks. And so I can filter this out. This is one way you use these filters. Give me the highest graded player anywhere since it's a utility spot under 2,500 bucks. Jose Peraza, Hernan Perez, Jesus Aguilar. There's a great one. Aguilar. He's got himself some power. We like Milwaukee just fine. Perez, Aguilar. If I wanted to tie break it, I'd go into the trends tab, see who's swinging a hotter bat right now. Peraza, Perez, Aguilar. So let's look. Peraza, 7-hole. How does that correlate with Suarez? 3 and a 7 is okay. Low numbers, 9, 3, 6. Not that I need a lot out of him. But let's see if we can find Aguilar hitting better. Not much. That stinks. How about Hernan Perez? See, all I'm doing is tie breaking right now. Just show me a big game. There's one big game. So a bunch of zeros and 24. Let's double check, make sure he was even starting. 2 at-bats, 3 at-bats, yuck. 1 and 2 at-bats, not great. 3 at-bats, 24 points. 4 at-bats, nothing. 4 at-bats, 3. So it's not going to be great no matter what we do. So we might just look at where we're stacking. We're already running into Cincinnati. Ugh, stinks. Or I might just actually go Aguilar straight power. He's the most powerful of all of them. Throw him in there. We're punting the position anyway. Now we've got $3,000 for a shortstop. So if I look at $3,000 for a shortstop, I've got Rosario, Kevin Newman, Tim Beckham, Willie Adams, Fletcher, Brandon Crawford, Freddie Galvis, Nick Ahmed, Arcia Taylor. So it's not great either way we look at it. We're going to have to do some working around. We're going to have to play with this to get something that we like. It may cost us a Santana. It may cost us a Reyes. Something like that. It may cost us even a San Diego. Who knows? But we can go into Boston at that point and start searching. This is how you're going to piece and match these things together. You've already got your player pool sorted out by looking at these. Hopefully you write these names down and you're focused on Cincinnati, Cleveland, Boston, whatever. And then hopefully you're looking at the bats inside those offenses that are rated the highest. You can also use the Trends tab to do the same thing and use the L7 WOBA if you want to and go through looking at it that way. There's a couple of ways to skin a cat. We'll talk more about this stuff inside DFSArmy.com, but I'm out of time, so I got to get out of here. Hopefully you guys like it. Like and subscribe to the channel. Come inside and see me, DFSArmy.com. Use coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P. For the 20% off discount, we'll get this Friday rocking and rolling inside our Army, and hopefully you guys see a bunch of winners out there on Twitter tomorrow. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you this weekend.